Hi, everybody. How is everybody doing?
Well,
Welcome to Transgurus again. So
Transgender.
this time we are again three. I'm afraid Jimmy didn't couldn't come today. We hope to see her next time. Not you, but her.
Yeah,
Want to see you
And
too,
you
by the way.
too.
Yeah. Or I hope you want to see us. And today's little discussion is going to be about. So let's put it this way. Quantum curious, what transitioning beyond a comfort zone can teach anyone about energy available to everyone. So,
yeah.
with these words, I let Bobby start, okay?
Thank you, and welcome to our podcast. We just can't believe how popular it's becoming. It's like thousands of people are being added every week, and it's so gratifying. And I often say that it really helps me put more thought into the kind of things we're going to talk about every week because there's people watching expecting to get something. I'm not sure what, but uh, we value your time and we want to make sure that uh, your interest is rewarded. And for the last several episodes, we've been talking all around quantum mechanics and quantum energies and the quantum universe. And uh, I hate that Jimmy's not here tonight because Jimmy is just a master of that topic. And I learned so much every time I'm in a conversation with her. But basically, just a little bit about what the quantum universe is about is we, we all live in an ocean of electromagnetic waves. Uh, and I, gosh, I got infatuated with physics when I was in high school, and and I kept on taking it after I got to college, and uh, it's just the most beautiful science I think in the ever because it's a perfect marriage between math and science, and it just the things that you can discover and deduce are really eye-opening. And so when you look at electromagnetic energy, you think about things like heat and light, sound waves, and things like that. But the problem is, as a human being, our sensory organs are only developed to a certain point. Like our eyes, our vision is just the visible light spectrum. So you've got this humongous electromagnetic wave of light, and we see about that much of it. And it's a really great thing to think about. Like, what could I see? Like I think about spiders that have 100 eyes, or cats that are always looking at something. They see something in the room with you that I don't see, and I often wonder just about vision and what we could see or what we could hear if our sensory perception could take in that whole spectrum. Gravity is an electromagnetic wave, and so our life is energy. It's like in this whole universe, we have become the universe experiencing itself. We have energy, and so we're swimming in this ocean of energy, and it it just we're immersed in it, but we're only able to perceive so much of it until we start getting really bold and trying to change something about us. And in a previous show, we talked about vibrating higher, and people have actually been able to measure the vibrations that people emit. And And on the low end, you have things like fear and guilt and resentment and self-loathing. And if your life is full of that, you're vibrating at a very low level. Uh, the thing that moves most people up is falling in love, because love, when you're full of love, you vibrate at a much higher level. And in that episode, we talked about authenticity being the highest level of vibration we could get to. And and what we've talked about, understanding our power and lots of things where we talk about the energy. Uh, Jimmy loves to talk about our words and our thoughts, and how the things we think about affect the universe around it, how the things we think about have energy and get a corresponding effect from this universe of electromagnetic energy that we're all living in, and how you have to be so careful about the things that come out of your mouth and the things that come out of your between your ears and all of those things. And what I was really hoping to hear Raji and Ella and Jimmy, I know we'll get to it the next time Jimmy's here, is just the things that we discovered about that universal energy that's available to all of us, because we took the risk of coming out of our comfort zone and moving beyond that. And you know, you hear lots of sayings like everything you ever dreamed of, everything you ever wanted is just on the other side of your comfort zone. And when we're full of fear and resentment and feeling trapped and hopeless, uh, we tend to want to just stay in our comfort zone. Uh, uh, I don't know if you've ever worked with like a women's shelter and abused women and things like that. And it's like, why would somebody stay with a man who's beating them? And if you get to know abused women, it's like they know how bad it can get. And they'd rather stay with something where they know how bad it can get than to move out of there into the unknown where they don't know what's going to happen. And so there's a whole lot of fear that's within us all when it comes to leaving our comfort zone. And either unfortunately or fortunately, you can't discover the true energy that's really available to you until you take that risk and you step outside of your comfort zone. And I'm not just talking about transgender people, people who want to start a business, for instance, or people who want to go on the impossible date. They're going to have somebody out and they're just scared to death. There's all kinds of, of things that happen to us in life where it's not going to happen unless we step out of our comfort zone. And that's exactly where I was all of those years living in the closet, all of those years where nobody knew what was really going on with me except me. And that's real uh, kind of comforting in a way, because you know you're afraid you're going to lose friends, you're afraid people are going to say mean things about you, you're afraid you're going to lose your job or all this stuff. And so you stay stuck in this miserable situation where you just don't have the courage to live life true to yourself. And so uh, what I believe people discover when they take that risk, when they say, I've just got to do this, I will be wasting my life if I don't step outside my comfort zone and take this risk. And what you discover is all of those things that I feared anyhow, hardly any of them happened. Uh, uh, I did lose some friends, but the friends I got, or the friends I discovered who were just really happy for me, it changed everything about a lot of friendships. And 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 what I learned is that when we have the courage to step outside our comfort zone, I didn't get a lot of hate and all that stuff. I got admiration. And it's like, oh my gosh, you inspire people. and it's the same way. And I'm sure Ella and Raji have picked up on this too with the things that you've gone into with your lives. You know, you were a little scared to try something, or maybe you'd had a bad experience, but you were still kind of determined, I've got to do this. And when you step outside of your comfort zone, that's when you just begin discovering this whole universe full of energy and things that are available to you. And so uh, the fear that I was afraid of turned into like admiration and support. And I was more loved than I've ever been in my life. And those are the kind of things that inspire me to think more positively and to start dreaming bigger. And it's like once you've gotten outside of that cocoon you've been into, once you went from being a caterpillar to a butterfly, uh, it's like a whole world opens up to you that you never, never, never would have known unless you decided to quit living in that fear and resentment and guilt and hopelessness zone and moved out of that. Now, and the reason I wanted to talk about it is because I think there's a whole lot of people that are stuck there right now because uh, I, there's a lot of hopelessness going on right now. And this is not a time to be hopeless. If anything, this is a time to discover your power and the energy that's available. And so I thought would it would be good to just talk about that energy that's available to anyone who transitions out of their comfort zone. And you don't have to be transgender to discover this. So, is that enough of an introduction? I'd like to hand it back to you.
Yes, it is a wonderful introduction. Yes. Raju, are you now okay for your comfort zone?
I think I am.
Oh,
And yes, it was an excellent introduction description. A lot of things resonated with what you said. And I just want to say hi to everyone. I'm so excited that we continue to grow. It's a wonderful thing. And hopefully you'll continue to tune in. So, Dr. Bobby, you said like a number of things that resonated with me. And that whole thing about there's so much, but like, what are we able to see? Like, there's a scope, and we're seeing things, but like, what are the things that we're not seeing that are going on? And the whole thing with animals, dogs are very good for that. They will
right.
smell stuff and hear things that we aren't in tune to. And I remember a quick funny story. This was in a little cottage that I stayed in some years ago, and the owner was lived in the house on the property, and I lived in a little cottage on the side of the house. And she had this dog. I don't even know what type of dog it was, but it was a huge dog, and he was like a gentle giant, and his name was Harley. And so Harley took to me, and one day Harley came over on my side, and I let him in to the cottage. So he spent a little time with me, but I noticed he kept walking over to a certain corner and looking up in my ceiling and barking. And I'm like, what is going on? Well, long story short, there was a raccoon in my ceiling that I didn't know about yet. I found out later after she had babies and they fell through. But after that, all of that happened, I said, oh my God, Harley had already, sniffed them out and heard them and all, which I had no idea. I hadn't, at that point, I didn't know there was anything up there. But Harley kept walking over and looking up at that spot where she ended up having her babies. So, it's amazing the things that animals feel and see, and that we can't. So, in regards to stepping out of your comfort zone, I think every single human being on the planet can relate to this message. I really do. Because at some point in time along your life's journey, every single human being will have to step out of their comfort zone, even if it's for a minute, and then they jump back in, and so life just happens to unfold that way. You may think like you have everything set in place and you're scheduled down, and I swear something will come out of left field, for lack of a better phrase, and you have to end up dealing with it and reacting to it, and oftentimes it takes you out of your comfort zone. We as human beings, I think it said we only use 10% of our brain capacity. Can you imagine if we were even able to use 50% of it, let alone 100? We'd probably be flying.
Yeah.
We human beings would probably literally be flying and doing all sorts of things and moving objects with just by looking at them and stuff.
Yeah.
So that whole thing about scope and what we can see really resonated with me, Bobby. It really did. So as a trans person, when I transitioned, one of the things that really, I would say, hit home for me, and like it was something I really, it was affirmed for me. It's not that I didn't know it before, but it was definitely affirmed after I transitioned. And that thing is, when you feel something deep in your soul to do, and even though your family's telling you not to do it, the community's telling you not to do it, the world is telling you not to do it, but you know in your soul it's right for you to do. Like you just feel it, you know it, you have to, you're being led to do it. When you step out on that and you actually act upon that and give and have faith in that, the universe will show you that you are supported. You can have 100 naysayers, and there'll be that one person that extends their hand and takes you to the next point. So that's one thing that really resonated for me, as I transition, that we are supported by God universe, by life, by the mere fact that we exist and that we're born into life. So I'll throw it back to Ella for now. Oh, I think you're on mute. Oh, I don't know. We can't hear you.
Oh, it's just because I was not telling something.
Oh, okay.
Well, first of all, thank you very much for everybody which comes and see us, and it has been incredible. I think we're gonna hit another milestone very soon. 50,000 people. Quantum. Curious. I love that. It has been a constant of all my life to step out of my comfort zone. I've been doing that since I am a small person. I was a small person. Why? I was thrown always in different places, mostly because of traveling, because of going to different countries, learning different languages, and finally transitioning into my own self. Yes, I found my comfort zone. I don't have to play a role anymore because I am not anymore in that place where I had to play a role so people do not notice what was going behind me. And yes, I really like to be in this comfort zone. It has become a comfort zone for me now that I travel, actually, Before it was a kind of a quantum leap, changed things. But I've been doing that for such a long time that change is my comfort zone.
Wow.
And it's, it's so beautiful because you're always learning. If you go
Mhm.
to a new country, if you see a new plant, if you see something, wow, you're learning something. You're meeting different people. You're meeting, it's just for your own enrichment. It just shows me that actually I don't know anything because I'm always learning. Will one day I will be able to say that I know everything? The more I know, the less I know that I will not.
Mhm.
Because there's always something else to learn. And thank God I opened my heart to that. Because that is for me a very important point.
Mhm.
But it's true, changing all the time, it's not always easy. It's a great progress. I mean, when I was young, I was running away a little bit from myself because I couldn't find myself. I knew there was something else in me. But with the time, you learn to listen to your own voice, which is very important. And you learn to listen as well to those vibrations which go all around you, but they're not necessarily showing themselves like light or anything else. But there's tons of vibrations going around, tons of, as Bobby said, electromagnetic fields which are actually around us, like Bobby said. They're all here all the time. And sometimes we don't open your heart to them. And it is a wonderful thing to actually open your heart to them, to see what's going around. Hey, I've got those moments too that I don't want to see anything else because I've got something in my mind. And something which is coming from the outside is not the right time. Sometimes it happens to me. I am just a normal person. But it's by opening yourself to whatever goes around you that you actually learn and you actually progress. Yeah, transformation as a transgender person it is a really big change. It's not the only change, but it is a very big change. And it's such a lot of learning, such a lot of joy of learning, getting in touch with yourself, actually trusting yourself, because that's what it is. It's just trusting yourself.
Mhm.
It doesn't come from the outside. You don't transition because someone told you to.
Yeah.
You transition because it came from you.
Mhm.
That is the only reason that you do that. So learn how to embrace yourself.
Mhm.
That is what it's all about. That's what life is all about. I mean, as I told you, for me, it's a constant to always change. I mean, I live in many countries. I know many languages. I am traveling all the time into new worlds. Sometimes I just was for the first time in my life in Panama last week. So, it's always something new. But it's that something new which is really beautiful. It is really beautiful. Last week when I was there, I actually went to the Panama Canal, which is a great place. And I learned about the history of that canal, which is absolutely incredible, which just shows that humankind is so incredible. We are, we can move mountains. Literally, we can move mountains. And the idea for that canal actually is so old. It just came from, apparently, it came from the Spanish. They wanted to make something like that. Of course, they knew why, because go around all of the America. It's a long journey
Dangerous too.
and dangerous. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was really incredible to see how long it took for that to be made, but it was finally made.
And how the levels of it, like, and it goes up and then comes down. I mean, it's amazing.
It is amazing, but it just shows you, hey, it doesn't have to take centuries for you to find yourself. It can
Right.
be faster,
Yes.
but there's a time for everything.
Mhm,
And open your heart, not to others, but to yourself.
mhm. Yeah.
So
I think, oh, excuse me.
go ahead, go ahead.
Oh, I just love talking to you all because I learned so much and you inspire so much in me. And that's why I have to keep coming back every week because I love being with you all. Um, but there were so many things that I was thinking about that trial and error learning. The
Yeah,
older you get, the more fearful you are of making an error. And I don't know why that is, because when you're a child and you want to learn how to ride a bicycle, you know you're going to fall down, but it's like, well, okay, I fell down 3 times. Maybe the next time I'll get it, or if you want to learn how to shoot foul shots or 3-point shots, it's like, you're not going to become a 90% foul shooter the first time you step up. So trial and error learning is a huge part of what we have to do, and you have to be gracious with yourself. You have to uh, understand that failure isn't fatal. That's really the way that we learn so much in life is by stepping out, taking a risk, and maybe we bumped into a wall, but in that experience, we learn something that's going to help us go over or under it, around it, or whatever, to find our way to another side of it. And the other thing about discovering energy, now we're talking about pure energy, and different energies attract uh, their counterparts. And so, if you're always lost in depression and fear and hopelessness, that's what you're going to see. Things that reinforce your fear and your hopelessness, that keep you paralyzed from ever trying to take that next step out. Uh, but, but but we talk about gratitude a lot, and I hope we always will, because I believe gratitude is a secret that opens up the world of access into that energy. Because if you focus on everything that's going wrong, everything that you don't have, the lack and the deficits in your life, that's what you're always going to have. That's you will never have enough if you focus on what you don't have. But when you focus on what you do have, you start seeing more and more what you can do with the things you have right now. And we talk about not comparing yourself to anybody, because, oh my gosh, you get on the internet and you can discover all these fabulous people all over the world doing all kinds of things. An artist that thinks they want to move to New York, and they discover, you know, all these fabulous artists. It makes you feel like you're still in kindergarten compared to them, and it's a mistake to compare yourself to anybody except who you were yesterday,
Yeah,
and that's a big secret. And so gratitude, being grateful for the things that you do have, that really attracts an energy into your life where you start seeing more and more about the opportunities that you
absolutely.
have, and you start attracting people into your life that have answers to the questions that are really bothering you, or that you don't know the answer to, or that people that can help point you in the right direction. And that's, oh my gosh. uh, my best friend went with me yesterday. I was telling you, I had some surgery yesterday, and she's a pioneer in the transgender world. Harry Benjamin was her doctor, and she had her surgery in
Wow.
1971.
Wow.
And oh my gosh, I wouldn't be here if she hadn't become my best friend. And I just, when you're talking to somebody that transitioned over 50 years ago, it's like they have a lot of wisdom, I'll tell you that. But a glorious sense of humor too. And so, you know, that's the other thing. When you step out of the comfort zone, you start meeting people that are going to inspire you and encourage you. And it's like when I'm in my comfort zone, I really didn't have any deep friendships because I had this big secret that I was keeping to myself, and people could only get this close. I had to keep everybody at arm's length. You can only know me this far because I don't want you to know this deep, dark secret about me.
Exactly.
And it's like, it's like once you uncork the bottle and let the genie out, that's when you start finding out who really does love you, who really does want to spend more time with you. And like I say, it was like that was one of the biggest surprises to me is all of the things I was afraid of turned into admiration and support and encouragement. And can we spend more time? And can you come over for dinner? And let's go to the movies this weekend. And so this whole new world of of connections. And I say that all the time too. It's like your life is not going to change unless you read more stuff and meet more people. And that's the whole secret. I say, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. And all of that is about the energy that you're putting out. It's like, and all of a sudden you start becoming confident and you start becoming courageous. And I'll tell you a big thing that I had to do is uh, for anybody that lives in a red state, you know that there's a lot of kind of oppressive stuff targeting the trans community right now. And I taught in the public school system, and there's a whole lot of queer kids in the public schools. And I taught in a psychiatric treatment facility for the kids that had gotten so overwhelmed that they had to be hospitalized. And and so I knew what all this stuff was going to do to them. And it was like, who's going to fight for these kids? And it was like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
it's me. Uh, and so I took early retirement from this really well-paying job, and and because it's like nobody's going to fight. Who's going to speak up for them if I don't go? And, that was a risk. I was real comfortable in my classroom. And man, I was leaving that to go into the state legislature and be in Senate hearings and things like that. Stuff I've never done before, but I had to do it. And that opens up a whole new world of stuff, and you start meeting more people and everything, and getting reinforced for the risk that you took. And I miss the classroom, I miss the kids, but I know I'm being more effective now, and that's what I really want to do. And so it's I guess what I really wanted to do is to to try to inspire everybody that this is not a time to lock yourself, lock the doors, and stay in your comfort zone. It's like there's a
Absolutely.
world to change right now, and 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 I hope to inspire somebody to to take a risk and step out of their comfort zone tomorrow, because that's where the magic is. And I know you're scared, and I know you feel hopeless, and you've got all this catastrophic thinking going on, like, oh, if I do, it's just, I'll be dead in 24. No, forget that stuff. None of that stuff is going to happen, because you're going to start attracting life and fulfillment and courage and confidence, uh, and that gratitude just attracts more things into your life to be grateful for. And so it's a really big secret. There's all of this energy that we're just swimming in this universe full of energy that wants us to excel, that wants us to make a contribution with our life for the time that we have. And you just can't discover it if you're going to stay
Absolutely.
hiding in your comfort zone.
Absolutely, Bobby. Raj, would you like to add something?
Sure, sure. So I can sit here and confidently say to you all that if I hadn't stepped out my comfort zone, I don't think I would have been a very happy person.
Yeah.
Life has been extremely difficult for me living as a transgender person in the world, but
Mhm.
I know that I had to do it. This was my journey and I had to do it. And so I'm glad. It's despite all that I've been through, the discrimination, the injustice, the physical beatdowns, all of that. I can say confidently that I'm happy that I stepped out and I'm living my truth because one thing's for sure, when you see me, you see me. You see the authentic Raji. And I'm
And
not,
what a sight to behold.
oh, you're so sweet. And I'm not living a lie, so it's one of those things, take me or leave me. Like either you love me or you don't. And because I'm living my life for me, and I think that because of that, I'm happier, I'm more creative, I'm more giving. I feel like because I'm living my authentic truth, I can not only be an example for people to say to them, you could do the same thing, but I'm also giving my dynamic self to the world. I'm giving my optimal self to the world. And so I would just leave you all with this. No one knows when our time will come. Everyone has a reason and a season. And I've said to myself a number of times, when I'm on my deathbed, I don't want to be saying woulda, coulda, shoulda. I want to know that I lived life gallantly and that I did the things that I was felt that I felt led to do. So live your life, step out of your comfort zone, do those things because really, all we have is the eternal now. On that note, I'll throw it back to Ella.
I have to say, the concept of failure does not exist. Failure, you cannot fail. When you do something wrong, you're learning. It's not failure, it's a new step. So forget about, don't be afraid of failure. Yeah, if you fail, well, you stand up again. Well, if you fall down, you stand up again. If you, that's how it works. Life works. And don't forget, Bobby told about about many magnetic fields that we don't see, that we only see a certain part. Our perception is only limited. It is very limited. But cultivate it in a way that you see more tomorrow than you see today. You know, there are many meditation, many ways of doing this that you actually try to perceive things which are probably not able to before. But that is as well learning, it's as well training, it's as well going actually out of your comfort zone because you don't know what's going to be there until you get there. It's
True.
always been like that. If you don't try, you don't know. And that is the wonderful thing about life, is that you have to go one step further. Yes, like Raji said, I feel myself after my transition so much better, so much in myself. I was talking about with someone today about life and transition. In a way, you are a person. you make a learning of something which you're going to do. Transition is not an end. Transition is a phase. After transition, you don't die. After transition, you live more.
Yeah.
And you've got a life which you started. I am an engineer. I work as an engineer. That is a continuous thing. And I'm always trying to learn more in that field.
Mhm.
Transitioning, actually, to tell you the truth, I feel much more happy in my job
Mhm.
today than I did before transitioning.
Mhm.
And I have been extremely blessed because most or many of the people which actually knew me before my transition, they still know me now and they respect me. There's probably one or two people which are a little bit transphobic, but that's their problem. That's not mine.
Right.
I mean, if you don't want to talk with me, that's okay. Many people do. And many very good people do. So, you know, that is just the way life goes. Try to understand yourself. I mean, you don't have to be transgender for that, you know.
Mhm.
And try to embrace the unknown because it's in the unknown where you find being better, achievement, gratitude, abundance. So, with those words, I'm asking my sisters for a last small, short
Well,
discussion.
yeah, I
Last words.
wanted I wanted to be sure to make sure that people understand we're talking about a universal principle. We're not talking about just something for transgender people. We're talking about something that's available to everybody. And as you were speaking, Ella, I remember one of the things I'm always telling high school students is who don't feel like they're college material. And it's like, oh my gosh, that is so okay. It's like if and I try to inspire them to go to a trade school. And I say, go to a trade school and learn heating and air conditioning. And you will always have a job.
Always have
But
a
but
job.
the, but the thing that I want them to understand is if you go into heating and air conditioning and you get like on a cruise and you're going around and you're doing people's service contracts and all of that stuff, you are going to learn the business. You're going to have a manager, supervisor, and you're going to learn what you like about them or what you don't like about them. You're going to learn about their inventory and their vehicles, and you are going to learn a whole lot about owning and operating an air conditioning business. And you learn all of that stuff on somebody else's dime. And then when you're ready to say, I think I'm ready to start my own business. And there's a whole lot of people that dream about starting their own business. And so that's why I really try to inspire kids that don't feel like they're college material to go to a trade school and learn how to become an electrician or something like that, because you can learn a whole lot on somebody else's dime. And then one of these days, you're going to have all the knowledge you need to know to start a business. And so they do start business. And boy, you want to see some happy people, meet somebody that owns an air conditioning company. they have fabulous homes and nice cars and they travel all over the world and they didn't go to college. And that's what that's what I'm just talking about, stepping out of your comfort zone where one day you're just wondering, I think I could start a business.
Hmm.
And follow that, because if your gut is telling you that, you need to listen to it. And so that's what I really wanted to hope to inspire people with today. It's like there's just so much to this life that you'll never know
Yeah,
until you step outside your comfort zone. And that's where the magic is.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Raji, your turn.
So, oh my God, air conditioning business, and especially here in South Florida, you
Yeah,
better believe it because it's year round.
yeah.
Oh, I love that. So, what gives me comfort is, and both Bobby and Ella touched on this, is the fact that it doesn't end here. And I love that. I love the fact that there's, an energy, a life force within me that will continue to live on after this body dies. And, a consciousness that will still live on. And it's so funny. One day, recently, I clicked on one um, NDA, near death experience. Yeah, near death experience, NDE, I guess. Um, and then I've been getting, like, every time I go on YouTube, I've been getting like all these different people describing like how it was when they died and before they came back. And it was just such, these things are like just so comforting and affirming because it is nice to know that this isn't it. But I say all of that to say we chose life. We came into this life, this earthly plane, to do things, to live our life to the fullest, to create, to be happy. We came through our parents. Our parents were the vehicle, and we were born into life. So I say that to encourage you all again. Live your life, step out of your comfort zone, do the things you want to do while you're here on the planet. When it's time for you to go, then you'll do things wherever you go to.
Yes.
But for now, while you're here, do the things you want to do here that make you happy, bring you joy, and also, make you feel like you're living your most highest and greatest good life. Ella?
I have to say that I am very much a believer in that type of spirituality too. And I mean, I have touched different religions, and of course, there are many religions which believe in reincarnation. And I go to Indian quite often, and the Hindus are one of them. So I really do believe in that type of thing a lot. You can believe whatever you want. That's your issue, not mine. But
Your prerogative.
absolutely. But I really do believe in the so-called, you know, rebirth and probably come. I mean, in many, many religions, probably next time I'll be in this life, I'll probably be an ant only for a couple of
And that.
and
Well,
probably it will be a wonderful experience too. I don't know, you know?
Elle, I just got to say this. The interesting thing is, every time I see a new video about the near death experience, it's someone different. White folks, black folks, Spanish folks, Asian folks, different religions, different walks of life, and they're all describing the other side, and their descriptions are absolutely beautiful. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ella. You made me think of that.
Yeah, but probably there is a garden somewhere which is absolutely, absolutely gorgeous. And I really do not believe in hell and heaven because I think that is you make your own hell anyways.
Yes. Yeah.
I have to say, I've got a very good friend. She's Italian, and she believes in that very much. And another very good common friend, as well, an Italian, she just passed away.
Mhm.
And that good friend of mine, in a meeting, we were talking about her because we made a special meeting between friends. Do you know to remember her? She just said, I know she's in the right side. She's gone up and she's in the right side. I
Mhm.
found actually that's so absolutely beautiful because it gave us kind of a comfort that, after this life, there is a nice place to go.
Mhm.
And it's beautiful. I think,
Mhm.
I hope so that when I pass away, I'll be on that beautiful lightning place, which is full of
Oh
beauty.
my goodness. I can't believe you all brought this up because I've had not one, but two near-death experiences, and they were both when I was in my 20s. And well, obviously, I was revived. Didn't work, but it wasn't for lack of trying. And it does. It changes something. It changed me down to my chromosomes. The conversations that I had and the things that I saw and experienced. And I would just like to add to what you're saying. Death is an upgrade. It is an upgrade.
It's an
Uh,
upgrade. And listen, I just gotta say, I had one too.
oh,
And I just recently did a video on my social media about it, and I said, God let my queer ass visit heaven. I just, to make it catchy. But yeah, definitely. And I didn't want to come back. I was ready
yes, yes.
stay and go into the light, but it was
Hmm.
not my time. I was made to come
Right.
back, but gently made to come back after I was showered in a beautiful rainbow.
Oh my gosh. Well, I
Anyway,
can
I
tell
think
we've got some
Steve,
topics to talk about in the future.
We
exactly.
do.
That's what I wanted to tell too. That certainly is a topic that we could, reserve for a full, um, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
full thing. Anyway, with those words, everybody, thank you very much for watching Transgurus. We'll be here next week again. And bye, everybody.
Oh,
Bye.
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 Love, peace, and blessings.
Namaste.
Oh.
Namaste.